want to ask you the challenges of applying responsible innovation. Because one of the key arguments is that against a movement like responsible innovation is that, yes, of course, ethics and responsibility is great, it's really important, but in practice, people find it sometimes quote unquote impossible to do things like stakeholder engagement because the power difference, okay? And the other argument that often pops up is, yes, ethics and responsibility is very important, but if I'm just trying to survive and make enough money to stay alive as a company owner, then I don't actually have the capacity to look at ethics and responsibility. Is a good to have, but not necessary. So I'm asking this question because I know some people listening to this will think about that. Because you've worked with companies, I'm just wondering, what would you say to that perspective?
I think they're very sensible objections, first of all. Let's say the worst thing we can do for responsible research and innovation is ignoring the obstacles on its way. So let's first acknowledge these obstacles and then, okay, also acknowledge that we're not going to have responsible innovation in 1 week or a year. It's a trajectory. I think that to some extent it's a trickle down. This means that the government can take the lead and should take the lead here. We underestimate how much money, public money, is going into innovation. These are billions and billions and billions of dollars and euros and yens and what have you. So use that power that comes with public funding to develop good practices. Secondly, large companies have an extra obligation and extra responsibility to start with responsible innovation. They have the pockets, their pockets are deep enough to have their own departments going, dealing with investigations. They can co-fund all kind of research. So there is a let's say, especially if there's an opportunity for public-private funding, so that the government is funding part of it and then the company the rest. I think that's a logical second step. Large companies may also have the larger incentive because they are very much visible. And society is watching, is growing critical, even if it doesn't immediately translate into consumer decisions. The market is sometimes slower to respond than the public opinion. Eventually you do have a market interest in behaving. It's also from the perspective, there's a lot of research that shows that if your company is trying to do some good in the world, you, in all likelihood, you will have nicer and more motivated employees. There's a real link. It's really important for employees to work in a company that they can feel proud of rather than be ashamed of. So there are incentives for big companies to invest in this. Now we have the smaller companies, and if you're barely able to survive, basically there's not that much space. Of course, there is a possibility to come together and to organize. If you all chip in $100, then in the end you can invest in some research. So I think there you need to organize smaller companies into larger wholes that are able to invest in responsible research and innovation. And even if that doesn't work, you can, of course, read your newspapers. Don't stick your head in the mud. Be aware of what is going on. You can engage even in a small scale with some stakeholders. So be creative and try to organize the dialogue with society, even if very modestly and on a small scale. It doesn't always have to be very expensive. You can also profit from the research that's being done and being paid for by others. These are not usually private reports that I'm writing, even if it's paid for by a big company.